Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
I just suddenly feel hungry from my
Welcome to
porridge.
another edition of the Lamboms Show. Today is Saturday, January 29th, 2022. My name is Lambert Baum. I'm your host. And today we are privileged and honored to have a 12-year-old who is going to share his experience of writing a book. Um, I try every month to do a book review, but today we are not reviewing a book. We are trying to understand how a young man, 12-year-old, fifth grade, has written and published a book. There are many, many kids who have similar skills, who have similar potentials, but may not have had the opportunity. There are too many challenges, thinking of end of course exams, thinking of many other things to do. We want to find out how our child, how our friend did it. And I want to welcome all. Um, this is a great opportunity for Africans to see how their own children too can become great authors and to encourage kids to look out for other opportunities, for other things other than the regular. I mean, you could still do the regular stuff, but in your free time, make time out to do something. And I think publishing a book, helping our kids to publish books is a great, great endeavor. Reading and writing are the two basic skills. Reading and writing, again, reading and writing, if you add to that math, those are the two things that people will do in school until they get to a certain grade. So I'm privileged to host Afegenwi Minang. Welcome.
Hi,
How are you today?
fine.
Good. So again, Afegenwi has written a book. It's called Art Man Blackout. And this book has, I mean, again, for me, great. It's published by Spears Media. That's another thing to talk about. That's managed by a Cameroonian. I've been struggling to get him on this show. I think the problem has been mine, but I'll get him on one of these days. But it's also an opportunity to say that the legacy publishing houses might be a barrier for people to publish books. But we have with us an alternative media, alternative medium, alternative publishing house that is ready to take manuscript and put it out in full form, guide people through that process actually. But since we are here to talk about Afegenwi, I'd like him to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about himself before we get into the book. Afegenwi, I hope I'm
Yes.
pronouncing that name correctly. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Afegenwi Minang, and I go to fifth grade in Greenbrier Elementary School. Um, I'm 12 years old, like he mentioned before, and my favorite show is a Disney show called Descendants. It- And there's another book coming up about my favorite snack, which is PB banana. I have another favorite snack called porridge. So, yeah.
Great. So again, you are 12 years old in fifth grade and already with a book and the market. How did that happen?
Well, well, back then when I was in first grade, I'd write small short stories. There's one short story I made that's similar to Artman. It's called Brushman, where there's this soup there's this superhero that's trying to stop this called Brushman, who's a toothbrush, who's trying to stop this super villain called I can't remember his name, but the book was based off what the book the villains were based off of sweet treats and stuff you want that were bad for your teeth. And and yeah, so anyway, I as I made these short stories, my dad started my my dad started to notice that I was making the short stories and just thought that this was something that wouldn't last very long, like as l- as I go down the road of life, I might end up finding a different passion, like being a doctor or something like that.
So
But
your dad was
then
trying to
after
take
a
you away
few
from
years
it.
had passed, he noticed that this was a serious dream I had. So he started catching on some of the books that he'd made and looked through and then when I made Art Man, he looked through his savings to see if he could make my dream come true and then get it published.
So excellent. What I hear you saying is you started writing short stories in first grade.
Mhm.
First grade. And you
Mhm.
kept writing, and your dad maybe tried to even dissuade you from doing that, and that you should concentrate on becoming a doctor. Am I right? Is that what was happening?
Well, no, he didn't try and persuade me to have a different passion. He just thought that this wouldn't really last very long and I'd eventually find out about something else I'd want to do. Like once I wanted to be a astronaut, but in the end I just wanted to be an author and artist.
Congratulations. This is the beginning of a journey. First grade. I mean, that just blows my mind that in first grade you are already writing short stories. And the thing that is encouraging is seeing your parents engaged. They're already picking up on the skills and making sure and say, hey, this may not last long, but keep on. And now, after all these years, you're in fifth grade. Now there's a book. Tell us about the book. Artman Blackout.
Well, it's about this boy named Tom Timpson in which his grandfather, Master Art, turns him into a superhero named Art Man, so that he could stop Doctor Eraser and his comrades, or just because Doctor Eraser got a hold of a rock called the Black Orb, and he's going to use it in a machine to make a black hole to destroy our city. And he and his comrades are going to use that to drive the city into letting them be their um mayors. So yeah, so that they could rule our city, and then after that, they're gonna move on to worldwide ruling.
So you're building up there's a city. That's an imaginary city. And in that city, there are different people and somebody. What's the name of the guy who has the black rock?
It's called the Black Orb. They
Okay, so he
use it
has some.
yeah,
Go ahead.
they use it in a machine um called the Destroyer, where it can make a black hole with the Black Orb.
Okay, and you have him trying to convince the entire city. What is he trying to do with the machine, that the destroyer? What is he trying to do with the destroyer?
Well, he uses it to destroy the city. He's gonna use it to destroy the city if the people of Art City won't let him be their mayors. If the people of Art City won't let him and Greg Ranny and Blackbeard be their mayors.
So again, too many sub themes in there, maybe not for you, but at this level, let's stay on that. There's a little bit of politics in it. There's a little bit of conflicts coming up, and but just walk us through. How long did it take you to write this book?
Um, it took me 2 years.
2 years. How did it all start?
Well, like I said, my brother kind of made a book called New School, and as he went on with it, I started thinking that maybe I should make a book too. So as I at first I had trouble with thinking of ideas for the book, and then I started remembering my old art teacher, Miss Coates, um, where she made me and my class make like 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 make different made up superheroes, and that's how I came up with Art Man. I made so first of all. when I made that part of when I made that part of Art Man wasn't really like that, like this. He was actually in pencil form. And yeah, and the people at Riot City were actually crayons and different materials that you use for art. And Dr. Eraser was just a eraser, and he had and and when I drew that picture, I drew him having minions. Like further here in the book, he wait, I'm looking. Like here in the book, he has minions of his own, where he uses them to fight, and he yeah. So these are his minions. Ant-Man's fighting them because he escaped from a cage that the three supervillains have put him in. So yeah,
So again,
and yeah,
just before you continue, so what I hear you saying is your brother started writing a book,
yes,
New House, and then
new
you
skull.
New School. Sorry, thank you. Then you two thought of writing a book, and what
Uh huh.
inspired you now was you had to think about what your art teacher had been saying, doing something about superheroes,
Making and drawing superheroes.
making and
Making up
drawing.
our own superheroes and then drawing them on paper.
Okay, so making your own superheroes and drawing them on paper. So that is how you came up with Artman. Artman became your own superhero. You drew
Yes,
that and wrote little stories. So this is a combination of drawings and text. Am I right? So
yes.
just flip the book through so that people can see a copy of the pictures you have and the text, just from page to page. Okay.
So this is a page of Art-Man fighting. This is a page of Art-Man fighting Dr. Racer's minions. This is a page of Dr. Racer on the news announcing um, that that he that for there will be 4 more days until he will destroy the world. And then this over here is a picture of a 90-foot tall robot shaking his friend JT up and down so the robot can have his money. Um, should I read the text of the book? Can I read the text of the book?
Yes, if you want, that's yeah. This is your show. Huh? I'm just here to guide you. This is your show.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do.
Um. Okay. So the end is close. It was shortly after midday the next day. I had just had lunch, and I was back in my room pacing up and down, deep in thought. Suddenly, I was interrupted by my sister, who came barging into my room. "Have you heard of knocking?" I asked. "No time," she said. "Quick, hand me $1." She said. "What for?" I asked. "Mom said that if I have some money, then I could go to the mall with her and—" "Okay, okay," I said, and just as I was about to give her $1, the ground shook underneath me as if there was an earthquake. "What was that? What was that?" my sister asked. "I don't know," I answered. Angel and I rushed towards my bedroom window. As we got closer to the window, we saw what looked like the biggest machine in the world. It was so tall, it almost looked like it was right next to our window, even though it was clearly somewhere around the center of our city, possibly on Main Street. So,
If you are just joining
that's part
us,
of my book.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are on the Lamboms Show, and I'm having a conversation with Afegenwi Minang, who has just authored a book, Artman Blackout. Now, there is a lot of ingenuity in that.
Can I show the pictures in?
There's a lot of ingenuity in what he has done. Started writing in first grade, little stories. The father noticed what was going on, and after a while, encouraged him. He saw his own brother. Afegenwi saw his own brother writing a book, New School, that has not been published, and then decides that he too is going to write a book. And how does that happen? He starts thinking of art class, what he had learned in art class. The teacher helps him through. He thinks about superhero. and comes out with this beautiful story. So you can see the role of the school, the role of the parents, and even the role of many other people in the community. While I give him a break, I wanted to say thank you to Godlove Akundeng. He says, "Bravo, Afegenwi Minang, we are behind you." Um, the school where Afegenwi goes to is called Greenbrier Elementary in Hagerstown. Keisha Washington says, "Amazing story. Godwill Mbachi, great job, Afegenwi Minang. God be with you always and family." Yes, Miss Dr. Jude Fokwang and the Spears Media Production, thank you so much for all your contributions to making this dream come true. And I say thank you to Dr. Jude. You and I, we have been planning to come on, but I hope 2022 we're going to accomplish that. Larissa Amodo, Foliwe, Nancy, Banyang, Eni, Ella Kemta, I'm sure those are kids. Bonia Wundaga, thank you all. Keisha says, great illustrations. Teacher Alice, awesome. Eniela says, God is so good, very proud. Congratulations, Afesi. This is the beginning of many more to come. Our son, keep soaring. Of course. Dr. Jude, keep up the good work. Thank you. So let's get back to the great author. So, I mean, what is the morale? What is it you intend to achieve with this book? What is the message you are passing across with this text?
Well, if you're wondering what the moral of the story is, well, the moral of the story is that mistakes don't matter. And if you're wondering what I want to achieve with the money I have from the book, well, I want to make an art school where I
Hang,
could teach
hang on to
different
that.
people
Hang
how
on
to
to
do
that.
art.
Hang on
What?
to that. Hold on. Let's take the first part. The main lesson you are showing is mistakes don't matter.
Yes.
How do you show that through the book?
Well, in the first part of the story, Tom Timpson, or Artman, tries to stop the giant robot, but ends up failing. So that's one of the mistakes he made. And then, yeah.
And how does he end up? How does he correct that mistake? Does he correct it?
Well, yes. In the end of the book, he ends up defeating Dr. Acer and the robot. And yeah.
So
And
that's a great message, isn't it? Great message for us. And again, that's the intention. You have a theme, you have a central message you want to pass across. You think through how to pass across that message, and you use a variety of things. For Afegenwi, he went through art, used his art class, used his intuition, wrote a text, painted, drew a couple of things, and put that together. And then went through. I'm going to ask your father the question later about how they decided to go through the process of publishing that. Now, of course, you spent 2 years. Tell us how this 2 years you spent writing the book. What was it like? You had homework, you had other things. Did you do it in your spare time, or you went to school and concentrated on doing this? How did that work out?
well, I used the time I had where if I didn't have anything else to do, I just write my book. And yeah. But I was still, but like where I did some other stuff, like have game time where I was serious about it, just not that serious. But then again, not like I wasn't I wasn't not focused on it enough to just not write the book. So I kept I kept writing in like at times where I didn't have anything else to do, or when my or when I was able to, like when I could, and eventually I ended up finishing the book.
So for 2 years, you spent time, you were very deliberate on it. Every little time you had game time, every spare time, you were concentrated, you were focused on getting through. What were your parents saying to you? Did they not try to say, hey, what is going on with that book?
Well, first of all, actually, I was just saying that um I was focused on the book, just not that much, where I use every bit of my spare time, even my game time, to do the book. I just only use times where I didn't I where where I didn't have anything to do, I asked I asked when my mom or my dad or my aunt if I could do game time or do my book, and if they said yes, then I do it. And when I had to decide to something else, or when I just got bored of doing that, I just went on to something else.
Is there any time you got stuck and did not know how to proceed? You just said, this is it. Did you ever get discouraged at any point? Did you feel like you were never going to go through it?
No.
So you just plowed through. So how did you know that you had come to the end? I mean, how did you come to that? You just said, this is it. I'm done with the book.
Well, first of all, here's how I process how to make a book. So I think of a book, I think of an idea, I got an idea in my head, and then as I go through the idea and my thinking, I start thinking that hey, my idea could turn into a book. So and then and then once I'm done with the book I'm currently making, I go into that book. Like for example, I have this book in my I have this idea in my head where I'm going to make a book called Ugly Pug.
Okay. What is that idea about?
Well, it's about this I can't remember the name, but it's about this girl and a dog, a pug, um where the girl where the girl uh where the girl thinks that she's ugly because she has glasses and braces, and the pug, well, the pug thinks it's ugly because it doesn't have, like, it was born without a leg. It was born without one of its legs or arms. So, and they end up learning that in the end, ugly is the new beautiful. So
That's a great. I mean, again, I think that's a great thing. First of all, I want to applaud you. I want to applaud you for describing that process. You think about an idea, then you say this idea could become a book, and you start thinking through how to sit down and put that in. Now, how did you blend the art and the writing? Was it that you did the pictures and then wrote something, or you did a picture together with writing? How did that work?
I just wrote and then drew.
Okay. So simultaneously, it's not as if you finished drawing and then decided, okay, this picture, let me write something about it.
Or maybe if there was a picture in the middle of two pieces of writing, I'd write and then draw and then write.
So it could come in any order. But again, there's which one do you prefer, the writing or the drawing?
Uh, well, I didn't like. Well, my favorite part about making the book is where I got to draw, where, 'cause I could just draw.
So I guess you're a great artist, a great you paint, you draw, and then maybe the writing comes to it. What's the most difficult part for you in getting through this exercise?
Um, I don't know.
There's none. I guess it just comes naturally, isn't it? So your brother started writing New School. You took the idea from him. You wanted to write your book. Yours has been published, and you have two other things that are happening. What is happening to New School?
Well, I rather finished the book, but it didn't get published. But like I said, but he has another book called 5 Foot where this piece of grass like like t- tells Kenner like it where this piece of grass tells Kenner that there should be books about grass. I mean, it's like, why isn't there any books about grass? And then Kenner, and then that's how he.
I think your sound is off. You want to check your sound? I can't hear you anymore.
Like over the
Yes, go ahead. You're good
and
now.
according to what I've heard over the months, I think that book is just getting it. My dad and my brother Kenner are getting that book published too.
So
So
we have a bunch of publishers in the Minangs, and all of them are kids. I want to take a couple of comments so that I can give you a break for a few seconds. Again, Ruth Akaba Eureka Fondumu. Um, thank you for joining us. Marie Claire Camden Parfait. Congrats, son. Banky Banka, Go Affects. The president of Bishoroga Next Students DC, Dr. Esele Moloa. Congrats, Afegenwi. Biroko DC is behind you. And Banky says from Naima, Kaylan, and IJ. I'm sure you know them. Godwin Bachi says, God bless you and family and Afegenwi. We are behind you. Thank you, Godwill. Keisha Washington, he's so brilliant. Grateful to know this family. So again, we're talking, we are with Afegenwi. Afegenwi has published a book, Art Man Black Out, and we are now talking about the book, the process of it, and the lessons. So Afegenwi, you have a bunch of your age mates watching, and they may be interested, some of them may be interested to know, I mean, what advice would you have for them?
I don't really have any advice. So
I mean, if there are people who are struggling to be able to write a book like you, your age, what would you tell them?
I think that well that they should not worry about mistakes and well they could it could be as focused as I was. I mean, they could play around sometimes, they but they should also try and get at least some time into making the book or the story or the piece of artwork that they're trying to do.
That's great, again, because your theme in the book is mistakes don't really matter, isn't it? Because Artman he made a mistake in the beginning and was able to win throughout at the end of the book. And so that and focus, I think that's a great piece of advice, isn't it? Focus, because most of our kids these days come back home, all they're doing is playing games, maybe a few things. So focus and go through that. So again, lots of love from Naila, Bryce, and Chi. Very exciting. We have enjoyed our copy. That's great. So there are some people who already have copies. So again, can you hold up the book? Let's talk about the most important part, which is that.
So first of all, you could get the book on Spears Media for $35, but there's gonna be a book signing at my school, Greenbury Elementary, where if you get it signed, it's 5% off.
When is that signing?
Greenbury Elementary.
When?
Um,
I think your mother has it
March
out.
21st.
March 23rd.
21st.
21st, okay. So again, ladies and gentlemen, that's our son. That's our brother. He has taken the time 2 years and has put out a book. If you want to get a copy, here you are. You can copy that, spearsmedia.com, and you can look up that. It's $35. Just think about that. The last time I took my kids out for a meal, we spent something like 110, and that was a cheap meal. So if each of them, we could get them a book. Think about spending $35 to get a book for your child. And it's not just that you are getting a book for your child. It is written by one of us, published by one of us. Get the children inspired. We read books that were written by folks that we never knew from where, and we thought that is something that is meant for a particular generation. We have one of our own kids here, fifth grader. Think about that, fifth grade, has published a book, and he has told you ideas. He thought about something, okay, and put that. He looked at. You can put out the book, Afegenwi. Sorry, you can put that down. Thought about it. Decided to focus on it, and it has taken him 2 years. Just imagine 2 years of his time that he has put in, written, and the book is now published. And all he's asking you to do is get a copy. $35. Get a copy. So if you wanted to give Afegenwi a gift, I'm not sure you'll be giving you a gift of $35. You want to give him a gift of $100. Why not go and buy a book? And now, Afegenwi, you are telling us now $35, we are going to be buying this book. What do you want to do with the money?
Well, I'm going to make an art school. With the money, there is an estate next to my neighborhood, like right next to my neighborhood, an open field where I could make it, where I could claim it, and then use the rest of my and then use my money to hire a few builders to make the art school.
Oh, wow. So this is a 12-year-old gentleman who has written a book and then is thinking of getting some place to build up a school, an art school. Wow, congratulations. Dreaming big. He's already seen himself as a billionaire, but he's working hard towards it, putting his energy. And I like this comment by Eugene Dikum. He is a genius. Proud of you, son. I need a link to order one for my son. Reading a book authored by his peer can be motivational. Absolutely. Absolutely. Those kids who are watching now, those of you who are listening, if you want me to interview you like I'm doing with Afegenwi, take a copy of his book, read it, write one, and call me in, and you will be on the show. How about that? Is that a deal? So if you want me to interview you, or if you want to be on the big media houses, do what Afegenwi has done. It's not just because his father is my schoolmate. No, it's not because we all are ex-students of Bishop Logan College and Sacred Heart. No, it's not because the family is my friend. I've been seeing you. Have I ever interviewed you, Afegenwi? We only say hi during mass, isn't it? That's it. Of all your siblings, you're the only one I've interviewed. Why? Because you wrote a book. That's a great thing. How do you feel about that?
Shy? Well, I don't really know.
Somebody says don't be shy. But again, all I'm trying to point to is, again, you have done something great. not many kids, especially black kids, write books. Not many kids, not many blacks, not many Africans read books. So for you to have moved beyond reading to writing is a great step. And we want to encourage others to do the same. You want to read another passage from your book? Can you open it up and read another passage from there? Another favorite passage?
Yes.
Good.
Let me just find a piece of my page, a piece of my book. Okay. So I found some 2 pages.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So show that up again, Afegenwi. Show that the 2 pages you have up. Okay. So what is that? The picture that we find there, what is it? Just read that for us.
Okay, so due to the tremor, and because we live close to the city center, my parents pulled us out of the house and we headed for our family van. Just then, Dr. Eraser appeared hovering in the sky above the city with a megaphone on his left hand. People of the city, he shouted, I present to you the greatest machine in the world that I could use to destroy your city if you don't do what I say. You can either accept me as your mayor, or I'll activate this machine to destroy this city, Dr. Racer continued. At that moment, I knew I had to act fast, but my parents did not know about my magical powers. I needed to tell them immediately, but how? My mind drifted away as I started hearing other voices. In my head, the voices of Grey Granny, Blackbeard, and Dr. Racer. Hey, hey, said Grey Granny. I thought it was me who was going to be mayor. No, it's not. No, it isn't. No, it is me who is going to be mayor, said Blackbeard. Stop, yelled yelled Dr. Racer. How about this? We split the city in thirds, and each of us gets 1/3 of the city. Deal, Grey Granny and Blackbeard said at the same time in agreement. I must have been imagining how Dr. Racer, Grey Granny, and Blackbeard might, like most wicked gangs, would wind up finding over the spoils of war at the end. When I was jolted back to reality by Dr. Race's thunderous laughter, Grey Granny and Blackbeard were nowhere in sight. Again, I realized I had to act alone without Master Art's direct support. But first, to s- but first I need to come clean to my parents and quick. And that's a piece of my book.
Absolutely gorgeous, fantastic, excellent. And again, I'm not the one saying that. It's not just me, because Seraphine Lenjo Tata, great job, my son. Let's share the positive energy with others. Please share this message. It should go around. If there's any African kid who does not get a copy of this book, we'll look for the parents, isn't it? Each of them should get a copy. Keisha, thanks for being on. You have been on since we started. Thank you for the great words. Black people, and especially those who are not American, deserve more authors like him. 100% I agree with you. I cannot wait to purchase the book for my 4-year-old son. Thank you, Keisha. Celine William, congratulations. Congratulations, my granny love. Thank you. Thank you. So, again, you talked a lot about your family. Your how many brothers, how many sisters do you have?
I have
So there's 6 of
I
you.
have other I have 6 other siblings, 3 girls and then 3 boys.
So,
I'm the seventh child in the house.
and the first, I guess.
No, my my older my younger sister Mia is the first.
Okay. So, is there some competition going on in the house about writing a book? Don't pay attention to anybody. Just you and I are here. Forget about it. Do you guys have like a writing competition at home where you're thinking, oh, I should write so that is that something happening?
Well, there is a competition Well, first of all, I entered a spooky story competition before, where I wrote a spooky story called The Doll Maker. Um,
What is
it's
that?
it's about it's gonna be printed out and published in uh it's published in a book in an exhibit somewhere. I don't know where, but it's I'm my dad and Spears Media are working on collecting some short stories that I've made and poems where they're gonna put them all together in a book of short stories that I made.
So you
And
have you have a lot of these collections.
there's another competition I want to enter. It's based off of art where Google needs a new title for its picture where, where every time you enter Google, you see something new on it where like once the Google letters were getting their vaccinations. So yeah, that's what they need. And I want to enter the contest.
Great. So
And
you have great
and
aspirations.
they need the picture to represent I care for myself by. I don't really know what that means, but I'll find out soon.
Too many ideas. Your head, I mean, when you're sleeping, you're only thinking, I guess. Thinking through ideas and drawing them and putting them to paper. So, again, if you're just joining us, 12-year-old Afegenwi Minang has authored a book. He's not just coming to say, please give me money. He's saying, I've written a book. I have a project, an art school. Please help support me by buying a copy. And if you are looking for a way of buying a copy, you have it right here. spearsmedia.com. Spears Media, and also Spears Media is owned by a Cameroonian, Dr. Jude Fokwang. He happens to be an ex-student of Sacred Heart College, Mancon. Just to say that too. Emmanuel, I did not forget about you, my brother. Don't be shy, he said earlier on. And he also said, I can't wait to get my copy. Kudos, Fex. These are your uncles and aunties and your peers all congratulating you and saying, go ahead. So please go get a copy. So I think we have gone through the main things. I just wanted to ask you maybe one last or two more questions. So tomorrow you are going to be called up to come and talk to a class of maybe third graders. Okay, they ask you to come and talk to people who are in third grade about writing. What are you going to tell them? Afangani, did you hear me?
What?
Did you hear the question?
What was the question?
I asked if you are invited to come and talk to a bunch of students in third grade about writing, what would you tell them?
Um um
I realized every time I twist the question, you find it. Okay, so what is the best part about writing for you? When is your best time to write?
where I could just be creative and just think of stuff as I go. I actually have another story coming up. I have another story thought through, a short story. It's another scary story that I've written. It's it's called My Friend's Crazy Imagination, where uh it's based off of like how crazy my ideas are. Cause once I told my mom and dad that that if you ever went into my mind, you'd want out in 2 seconds.
Why? Why did you say that?
Well, well, I can't really remember how that competition got started, but yeah.
So again, my last question to you before I go over is your dad and your mom, are they around there?
Yes.
Okay, just before I get to, so when is your best time to write? Is it in the morning before you go to school? When you come back, is there any best time for you?
Um, where well, a best time would probably be during the weekend, cause I have the most free time.
So that's the best time to do anything. Okay. So, and do you have, I mean, are you, with all these things, do you manage to do some stuff around the house, or all you do is think through, eat, write? Do you manage to do anything else?
Yes,
Like what?
like like like. Okay, so first of all, like I said, game time. Another thing I can get to do is watch TV. Um, Another thing is what? Clean. That
Good.
well, that's actually a chore that we do before breakfast on Saturdays.
Good. So at least it's not just that you are relaxing, you get to do some house chores and you get all the other things done. Okay, take a break, call dad and mom. Let me talk to dad and mom. Then I'll come back for your closing remarks if you have any. Okay? Just let me talk to dad and mom if they're around you.
Okay.
Hi, Lambert. Give
Hey,
me a minute to take off the loudspeaker, to
yes.
take off to adjust the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I just want to adjust the mic. We can
Okay.
hear you.
Yes, okay, that's fine. So
Mm.
again, ladies and gentlemen, thank
So
you for
we have
showing up.
everybody in the room.
Where's Dr. J?
It's right here. Mm. Forget you come back. You don't have to disappear.
No,
Can you
tell him
hear?
he has to close the show.
Yeah, come back.
Yes. So again, I really wanted to say thank you. D, where are you going to?
I'm just pulling up a chair.
Okay, cool.
You're surprising us, so we're trying to adjust.
Yes, pull again to the side.
Okay.
Good. Good.
So we're trying to make sure that Afegenwi looks taller in this. Usually,
Yeah, I have worked for it'll keep going until I'm 15. Right until then, if I eat, but until then, I'll just keep getting taller. Like every time I eat, instead of getting fatter, I go taller.
Okay, so I
I'm
again
getting fatter. So
I think that's what I need. I need to eat the same thing that you are eating because I need to get taller, not fatter. But, you know, maybe I have to come to you to see what that menu looks like. But Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Minang, I really want to say thank you. And for full disclosure, um, these are friends. Dr. Minang and I went to school together in Bishop Rogan College. I don't know how many classes I was ahead of him. That's irrelevant. And maybe that's also why I had this interview pretty quickly because many authors don't just give out interviews like that. So Afegenwi, you are looking at it and thinking that I feel privileged to have interviewed you, but I also wanted to bring you in order to walk some parents through the process. It's a blessing for you and the family. Somebody's playing with something there.
it's just glitching somehow.
Right. So again, what did it take, Dr. J? Afegenwi mentioned a couple of times. You tried to tell him that this may be something short term, that he may eventually end up being a doctor in some, and then eventually came back to it. What was going on in your mind at the time?
Yeah. So first of all, Lambert, thanks for this opportunity. We're glad you're able to put Afegenwi onto your show to try to give him this platform. You might think it's a privilege, but it goes both ways, and it's more so for him and us than for you. We want to extend our gratitude to those that join on online and they're watching, especially the children. So we hope you feel inspired. So going back to your question, how we got to this. If you followed Afegenwi these last 30 minutes, for those that are watching, you can tell that his mind can be very fleeting. He had just too many ideas, and so in his early years, he was like every other kid that would just assume that you're excited about one thing for a day or two, and then you move on. But with the writing thing, we started realizing some consistency out of so many other things, and there were two things that was pretty consistent in, and that is drawing and writing words. And then, of course, the reading. He's one of those few kids that started reading very well early. And in the last 1.5 years, he has won so many prizes on artwork and short story in his school. Every time there's some competition in his school, he gets in there, he wins it. So at some point, we realized the consistency. And so we had to take him serious and try to make it happen for him. And you must have heard him say, his kid brother, who started writing at 7 while Afegenwi was 9, actually started writing at 6 while Afegenwi was 8, had his book ready first. But I mean, and he was more pushful about us trying to publish it. But when we looked through it, it wasn't really publishable material. We could maybe just put it on online ourselves. So I tried to talk to my friend Spears Media just to help us clean it up. And it's in the process that we discovered how far along Afegenwi had come with his own book, because even though his brother inspired him and told him to continue writing, for several months we did not know that they put together that much effort. By the time I talked to Afegenwi, he had clearly delineated his book and he had 12 very clear chapters with a very clear story and a clear message that he wanted to pass in the story. All his illustrations were already complete. So we only got a professional illustrator to clean up for us. And that was when we were like in the third month into COVID. And so the good thing is they were going to school at home, which was a blessing. So he could have a little bit more time to spend on his book. Just the time he wasted going to school and coming back was extra time that he could put on the book. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it was kind of a winded way to get to it.
No, I mean, again, yeah, that's great. The thing I find fascinating is, as a parent, you have time to see through and watch what is going on. Dr. Gillis.
Yes. That actually, Lambert, was the blessing of the COVID-19 period, if we can see the silver lining between, because that allowed us the time to really get to know them more and see the consistency in their lives and the gifts that they have, especially him. I remember him reading this story to me because I tell him, I don't read, you have to read it out loud to me. So I remember him reading this story to me, and by the time he got to chapter 3, I was so engulfed. I wanted to hear the next story and the next one and the next one. And at that time, he had only written 8 chapters. And when he got to the 8th chapter, I'm like, what happened? I think he said the end, but not the end of the book. I'm like, what? I need more. So it's really one of those things that was the blessing of COVID. We got to spend more time with them at home. And that's how we discovered that this was not just a fluke. This was so consistent. And he was very, very intentional about putting time to it. He's one of those people that instead of, if you tell him it's a spare time, he'll pick up a book or he'll want to go on his computer to continue writing. So it's just been a pleasure watching him blossom into this young author that he is today.
So again, just before we wrap this up, I have a couple more, but Dr. G, I'm kind of curious about the brother who started off first, and then you have ended up publishing his.
They're all here somewhere.
How do you manage that?
Okay, so as I said with kids, we parents will notice this thing where kids have one dream today and another dream tomorrow. So I think for the brother, it was just a phase for him, unlike Afegenwi, because it's been so many attempts of me going back to him and saying, you have to finish your story, you have to finish your book. Because it was a very interesting book that if you started reading what the brother wrote, you just like Billy's mentioned, you want to find out what is next. And he will tell you verbally, but he never comes around and sit down and do it. And what I think the slight difference with the brother is that, unlike Afegenwi, the brother could not do his own illustrations. So the brother depended on his elder sister that helped him to do the illustrations. And so sometimes maybe the things never came together, but the brother has other distractions that have moved on to. So I don't know if maybe Afegenwi will end up being the one helping the brother finish that book for them to be co-authors of the book. Because Afegenwi have moved on to write the sequel already of this Blackout. The draft is ready. Jude actually already looked at the draft, but we're waiting for this one to be published before we get to that one. And then he's already working on a couple of other books. He has a bunch of short stories that he has written. Some of them have already won awards that he was able to send those out to be added in compilations of short stories. But he also wants to do his own compilation of short stories.
But
So it's just crazy the number of things that he's writing. But yeah, for the brother, I think he's kind of moved on a little bit.
to add to that, Lambert, I think it's just also that they all have different interests. And when his other brother has a lot more other things that keep him spellbound, right? He's a whiz in math. So anything math he would do. So he tends to pivot off of this because it's not really his core interest. And I think that's where you're driving to with your question is all of them have different talents and different interests. We have all 7 of them at home. And we are very intentional about encouraging every single one of them to explore the different interests that they have. I mean, we have the eldest one who is just exceptional at making sure everything works at home. Today morning, we were noticing that we've gone for months without a bell because we kept calling the company that came and installed the bell to come fix it, and they just were not coming. But this young man just took 10 minutes. He's 12. He took 10 minutes and he got that bell to work this morning. And all of us are looking at him like, really? All this time you could not, we were calling people and paying for people and you could do this. But it just tells us now that we can put some energy into making sure that he actually hones that skill. You know, it's like the sister that is helping with the first brother with a book. She is really good at drawing. So she's actually in the magnet program for drawing. And they selected her for this program and she's there. She's learning how to really hone her drawing. And she too is winning a lot of prizes in that. So I think, and you alluded to this to your first question, where when we saw it was very instinctive for me to be the African parent. And I think at some point I actually told Afegenwi, artists don't make money. So please get off of that. You have to become a doctor. I really did tell him that, but that was just my I would say my African bone kicking in.
So I think Minang said they should get the devices connected. And again, we are talking to the Afegenwi Minang, who just is an author, just wrote a book. Talking to the parents. I'm sure they're coming back on, their devices got connected. But it's kind of fascinating to see the role parents play in getting their kids, you know. Again, this is something that should become a lesson for all of us, managing how to manage our kids, spot their talents and encourage them in that. And, you know, there's this thing where we grew up in a country where the best people, the best children were the ones who are performing very well in school, isn't it? This has nothing to do with performance in school. It's recognizing a talent, seeing the person's interest and being able to see how sustainable that is. And I really want to applaud the Minangs for this. Managing this in this country is not easy. And looking out for what each person is good at and celebrating that fact. It's, I mean, it's not easy. And like you said, the African part in you came up, Dilly, is because you wanted the one that's going to make money. You know, most of the for Cameroonians, those who wanted to play soccer, they said you are becoming a thief, isn't it? Those who went to technical schools, they saw them as the ones who are not contributing, and maybe those who went to Sacred Heart. But now we find that this is rare to find an African kid who is concentrating on writing and becoming an author. He told me clearly he wants to become an artist and an author. That's it. He's done. He already knows it and he's working on it. And I think that's a good thing. So if you had to talk to other parents, what advice do you have for other parents? I think your connection there is having a problem. Hold on, we can hear you. Good. Can you say something so that I see what the volume is on? Sorry about the technical hiccups. Again, that's what happens. But we have been talking to Afegenwi, and Afegenwi has authored a book. And if you want to get a copy, you go to spearsmedia.com, and the title of the book is Artman Blackout. And we know that there are 2 others that are in the market that are on their way. And I wanted also to read a comment here by Sonia Glasgow. Sonia said, the place his short story will publish is called Fright Vision Exhibit A. He entered the contest amongst hundreds of kids from around the world, and only 50 to 70 kids were picked to be in the book. Wow. Congratulations, my son. Marie Claire, good job, parents of this talented young author. God bless you. Tracy, good luck to your book. Congratulations. Yes, I think so. We should blame the snowstorm. And that's the snowstorm that's trying to mess us up, but we are going to defeat that. Thank you for that.
Are you guys good? Can you hear us
Yes,
now?
somebody gave a very good excuse. I think that's that should be Ella, because I'm not sure. The snowstorm should be disturbing. But again, parents, encourage your kids. Look at what your kids are interested in and have a talent in, and try to encourage them. Accompany them. For a child in 5th grade to have been able to do this. And like I said, Spears Media, we also want to encourage Spears Media. If you don't know what to do and you see that your child likes drawing or your child likes writing and you don't know what to do to encourage the child, you can always reach out. We have a great publishing house, Spears Media. We can always, they'll be able to guide you through, and there are many people in the community who can also guide us. So again, I'm trying to get the Minangs to say a word before we wrap up. I don't know the snowstorm. Are you guys on? So unfortunately, the Minangs seem to be having some technical difficulties. And again, I just want to encourage people, please spend $35. $35, get a copy of your son's book, your brother's book, your friend's book. This is a young man, 12 years old, who has written a book. And you can see that he has so many ideas. He said the best way to do it, try to think through an idea. And when you think through the idea, what do? Try to put it down. Laura Minang says, congratulations. Afegenwi, we are proud of you. Encouraging our young, talented ones is very essential. Thank God for your parents for supporting you. Thank you very much, Laura. Again, I think we have some technical difficulties. I'm going to leave this here for one last moment. Please If you are looking for a place to buy, here you go, Spears Media. And like Afegenwi said, he has a book signing coming up on the March 21st in the school. You can get a 5% discount. He's having that on March 25th. So please. I think we may not be able to have the Minangs on again, but I just want to thank everybody for watching. And thank you. I have a book review every month. We have started this year with that of a 12-year-old. Next month, I'm going to have Dr. Emma Osong, Unraveled. Dr. Emma Osong is a book we are going to use. We are going to be talking about next month. I want to thank Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Minang. I want to thank Afegenwi for the time. I thank him for all he has done and encourage him to keep on. I'm waiting for the next publication. Okay, I see they are back. The snowstorm is trying to do us a bad deal here. But since we are struggling with technology, can you guys say a few words? Then I can't hear you guys. Should I add you to the stream?
Can you hear us now?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we know you're wrapping up, so yeah, Julius, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so sorry about that. It's been a struggle trying to stay on. But I think, Lambert, just to answer your question is, parents should just watch out for what your kids are looking at and hold back. Don't be like me with the knee-jerk reaction to say, no, I need you to do the money bringing thing. Encourage them in whatever they're doing, because we unlike from where we come from, we're currently in a world where there is so much possibilities, so many things that our kids can get into, and they can succeed in it. So anything that your child takes interest in, what we have discovered is consistency. As long as they can be consistent in it and you can encourage them, they will make it and they would succeed in it. So if your child is taking interest in anything, if you can just motivate them and just help them to be consistent with it, you see they'll eventually succeed in what they're doing.
Dr. J?
Yeah, so not much to add to that, but just zooming in on writing specifically. I know that there's even this joke that goes around that if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. And so it's very big for me encouraging kids in general to read. That's the first starting point. But once they have a love for books, you'll be surprised how many of our own people can write. And the problem of the African man too is that we have not told our own story the last 400 years. That's why I've been telling our story. And that's because that story is written in a book. We've passed down oral history. If we're going to have the next generation write our history, our kids have to be the ones to write that history, which means they have to start writing. So that's all I can say. We have to have our children write. That way we can document our history the way it's supposed to be and the way we want the world to look at us.
So thank you very much. I think, again, parents need to be vigilant, helping our kids to get focused, and let's be able to tell our own story and help our kids. So back to the author. The last word, my author. Was it what? Any last words?
No.
You don't have anything to say? I don't think the author is that shy.
You want to read something, or
let your imagination paint the world.
Let your imagination be the word. That's great. So read any last piece from your book. You want to read any one last page?
Yeah, Lambert will, because we have some of them here. You will come and stand behind.
Oh, there's some. Bring them. Let them come onto the back. Come on, let's see you.
This way.
Why he reads this last?
Come on,
piece.
folks. Come on,
Read
Come on.
Teacher loves your book.
the last part of the
Oh
book.
wow!
I'm going to read the last part of the book. That process was interrupted by a knock on my door. Angel, I said in surprise, why are you up so early? I asked. Well, I was thinking about the events of yesterday all night, and I think I can't just stand here and watch you go after Dr. Racer, Great Granny, and Black Bear alone and get eaten next time. And besides, you're my brother. She said, I need to learn how to fight so we can all go shut them down permanently. Just then I remembered my story telling me about magical powers of his paintbrush. In fact, the tip of his welker is a paintbrush. I turned to Angel and asked, what do you think about being a paintbrush girl? How will that work with you as art man? Angel asked. You'll be a great backup and good antidote for Dr. Racers and Blackbeard, I answered. Count me in then, she said. Now that we have that covered, we need a third partner, so it's a perfect match up. 3 against 3, I said. I still owe JT an apology, I whispered, more to myself. I think JT will be a good matchup for Great Granny and her yarn. That afternoon, with my dad's permission, I went over to visit with JT. He was quick to accept my apology, as I could tell he really wanted to be able to visit our house again so he could see Angel. JT and I had a long walk, and I answered all his questions about our man and master art as best as I could. I was able to convince JT to be part of a team with Angel and myself, so we could defend our town from Dr. Racer and his evil friends. Of course, JT didn't need.
Technology keeps trying to derail us. Afegenwi, I'm sorry, but oh, thank God they are on now. Just quickly read that so that we can. Hold on. I can't hear you. Okay.
Right.
But we could only imagine JT as a bigger invisible boy. I guess we'll find out.
Okay, so when it ends there, you guys can hear the last phrase, the invisible boy, is actually the title of the next book in the series that he already has in draft form. So it has a cliffhanger right there at the end of the book.
Thank you very much. I want to ask one question to the many people at the back. Who is going to be the next author? Just raise your hand. Whose book I'm going to be reading next?
So this is the author of New School that has been sitting on the shelf and he never comes around.
When are we going to see New School?
And Shalom, whose tutor is Shiloh. Shalom is the one that has been helping Afegenwi with the sketching, the drawing, the illustrations for New School. She's the one that's in the magnet program for the arts, for creative arts.
So Shalom, there you go. And then this is Mia. Mia is Mia.
The last one that I clearly described her.
Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for the technical hitches. But again, there you guys. Okay. Are we there? If you are saying something, I can't hear you. Are you saying anything? Okay, since I can't hear you, I really want to say thank you, and thank you for the family. Thank you for everything. Afegenwi, again, like I said, please. Afegenwi has told us his dream. He wants to build an art school from the proceeds, go to spearsmedia.com, get a copy. If you want, I'm going to put the Facebook link to the school's book signing, which is on the 21st. Okay, good. So on the 21st of March. Good. Okay, so again, I just wanted to say a big thank you to the family. Thank you to all. Thank you to the many, many kids who are on here, their parents. Grab a copy, but do not just get a copy for yourself. Think about one other family, one other kid who may not be able to get a copy, okay? So if you get a copy for yourself, make sure you get one for some other person. And I just want to say, Afegenwi, I'm looking forward to the next book, looking forward to the next text, and hopefully we'll be able to come on again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending this very chilly, cold, snow Saturday with us, with Afegenwi Minang, our young author who has many books lined up, and we are looking forward to bringing him on again for another book. Thank you and have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.